Welcome to the Calder Farmstead, your place for news, analysis, and shenanigans from the American Hockey League.
Face off one by Calder, Jones, top, another point fence into the slot, a shot is gone! Josh Perry, in double,
left point, long drive, save, Kinetic, what a stop by Matisse with the left pad! Oh, there was a scramble in front of the net, denied was Matt Schicker by a miraculous piece of net binding by Matisse Kinetic.
D-laner from the red line sends it in, Hofer in the his net, he stops it, Hofer looking, Hofer firing toward the empty net, he scores! Are you kidding me? Joel Hofer, a goalie goal in the Calder Cup playoffs!
And now, with 9 minutes gone in overtime, the Bears breaking out. Right side with Fair. Brooks Light cutting to the net. Fair and let's go! He scored! He scored! It's over!
Hello, hello, hello from Times Square, New York.
And still incredibly cold, Chicago, Illinois.
Welcome to the Calder Farmstead podcast, episode 124B for December 29th, 2022. If you were hoping for a podcast featuring end-of-year accounting tips for your farm, we are not going to be much help. This is an American Hockey League podcast. My name is Sean O'Brien from StatsTrack and the AHL's only league-wide analytics guy.
And I'm Sarah Appampato from Full Press Hockey and SB Nation's Canes Country.
And as always, we thank you for tuning in with us. And if you're new to hearing Sarah and I talk about hockey, we're going to take a break from our usual format to make some off-board predictions for 2023 in the AHL. We both watch a lot of AHL games and to talk about what we see when we watch the film, as well as use some advanced stats to help us break it down in our normal kind of run-of-the-mill. Probably not so much today, but regardless, if that's new to you, you may want to head over to our YouTube channel or podcast feed, wherever you're listening to us from, and check out episode 0. It's all the way at the bottom, but it is down there. It's a short primer on some of the stats we're going to be talking about, as well as how we view what's important on the ice. So if you're newer to some of the more advanced hockey stats terms like PDO or the point shares model, or newer hockey terms like controlled zone entries or Royal Road, go check that out so you better be able to pick up what we're putting down. I promise it's not that nerdy or technical. It's only 20 minutes, and let's be honest, you wasted 20 minutes caring about the World Juniors. You'll never get that time back. So next time, why not spend a little more time with us talking hockey?
All right, so the phrase, well, I didn't have, fill in the blank, endless pandemic, Elon Musk breaking Twitter, whatever it is, none of those things. Didn't have that on my 2020, 2021, 22 bingo card. All that stuff, well, we didn't have those phrases, but it's started to become more and more common as we live through stranger and stranger times. So this being our last episode of 2022, we thought, well, what better time than to get ahead of everything and create our 2023 AHL bingo cards.
So, most importantly, what happens if/when Sarah or I get a bingo? Excellent question. Sarah and I have decided to make a $100 wager here. If one of us gets a bingo in the calendar year 2023, then a charity of our choosing gets a $100 donation courtesy of the Calder Farmstead. And both sides can win here. It's not just the first to a bingo, but if both of us make it, we're open the whole year. That way, we are motivated to hit a bingo, and it's for a good cause. Everyone here wins, which is like the opposite of a San Diego Gulls game. Ba-dun-dun. So we both made our cards, and this episode is more the reveal of those. Sarah, we'll start with you, and starting with the B column. So the way we're going to go with this here is we're going to talk about Sarah's B column, then we'll switch to my B, I, and take a break around the middle of N, right around the free space, then come back, finish it off. All right. Sarah, your first B card, or first B column, B1 is the San Diego Gulls have a winning streak of 4+ games. Sarah, that is.
I mean, yeah.
We're open.
Yeah, it's ambitious. My bingo card is ambitious, let's say, for things. I mean, they did win a game recently. They ended that 25 game losing streak of 12, 13. I mean, that's the real number. But, I thought maybe they could remember, they'll play another really bad team at some point, or some team they will play will also have ECHL goalies or something. But I like we've talked about before, like the Gulls fan base deserves nice things. So I put that on there as a like holiday gift to the Gulls fans to say, I believe in you people. Your team, we'll see.
In terms of believing in teams, your second B column is Chicago adds more fireworks to distract from on-ice performance. Ouch.
I mean, also, to be fair to the Wolves, like they now have points in 3 straight games, but like go big or go home. The fireworks are always the thing that people get most excited about. Whenever they score goals, everyone's super excited because there's more fireworks. But if you're not scoring many goals, well, your fireworks budget has to go somewhere, right? So I figure put it all in to the intro thing where they're all skating on and things are blowing up. So just get everyone super jazzed at the beginning with all the things on fire, and you might forget about the fact that they, I don't know, just blew a game 8-7 in overtime.
Yeah, I like the other idea. Instead of, adding more fireworks, I think they should shoot off fireworks during more occasions. Successful penalty kill, right in the middle of the game. Who cares?
I like it. I like it.
Power play gets a shot on goal. Second period starts.
Icing.
Yeah. Any
Sparkles.
icing or anything like that. Just absolutely no reason. A
I
good
like
poke check. Yeah, that's the way we should approach this.
I'm into that.
All right. Third on your B column is Sammy Walker wins Rookie of the Year. I mean,
this one feels plausible, right? Like
very plausible. I think the biggest part of it is he first has to come back from Minnesota.
Yes, I hesitated for a second to put this on here because all the Wild people I know are like, well, he's never going back. And I'm like, maybe. The Wild sure need him. And he's certainly been impressive. So I'd like to think that if he does return, he has a legit shot at this one.
For sure. All right, fourth down there. Injuries to Pittsburgh decimate Wilkes-Barre Scranton. Interesting take.
Yeah, I was just watching. I feel like the Penguins just had to call up 2 guys from Wilkes-Barre Scranton just like today or yesterday. So I feel like the injury bug is finally like every year there's one time at least where Pittsburgh just has it. It's where the whole stupid Mark Donk thing came from, right? Because you blink and then half of Pittsburgh is on the injured list, and then oops, there goes Wilkes-Barre Scranton's like chances at anything. So I feel like the time is coming soon where suddenly all of their top guys have to leave because Pittsburgh needs bodies.
All right, last for Sarah in the B column is the weather for the outdoor game is terrible. So I'm going to ask you to qualify. How are we defining terrible? Like, it's obviously going to be probably cold.
Right.
But are we talking like negative temperatures or like rainy?
I'm talking like the snow rain kind of like, because like regular snow, whatever. Rain, not great, but you can deal with it. But it's like that snow rain mixture where you don't really know, like there's no way to prepare for how gross that is. So I'm just like, cold, whatever, who cares? We can deal with that. But it's Cleveland, it's the Midwest-ish. I know what the weather's like in March, and it's usually disgusting. So apologies to everyone going to that game, but I may have just invented snow rain for you.
I haven't decided if I'm going to that game yet. I've been thinking about it, but we'll see. I got a little bit left to decide here. All right. That is it for Sarah's B column. Let's switch gears and go over to mine. First up for me, I have a game is suspended due to Zamboni error. I mean, we've seen games suspended for power outages, for door frame obstructions. Games have been suspended in the past for a litany of reasons. For COVID, where one team just suddenly decided they were going to take the ice before the test results came back, like complete idiots. So Zamboni error. I've actually witnessed a game live in person be suspended by Zamboni error in the SPHL. So that gives me hope that we can find some kind of like goofy, the Zamboni ran out of gas midway on the ice kind of insanity.
Yeah. Part falls
or
off
it literally
of it.
just explodes and leaves like shards of metal in the ice. That's what I'm hoping for. My bingo card is largely Team Chaos, which if you've been listening to this show,
Yeah.
I feel like you understood that was always going to be that way from my side of things.
No. I feel like neither of these cards should surprise anyone who has listened to like anything we've said.
My second B is Ville Heinola is traded. This one feels inevitable. Like he might finish out the season here, but I could also see like Winnipeg making a reach at the deadline, trying to add pieces to bolster a little run here. And Ville Heinola is high up on that list of attractive pieces that they could maybe deal. Like he's been the last cut at camp two seasons in a row.
Yeah.
I have to imagine, if someone makes a nice offer, for a rental at the deadline and wants Ville Heinola in return, I could see the Jets saying yes to that. Like they shouldn't probably, but I could see them doing it.
Right.
Third on my list here, and this is probably the most off board besides the Zamboni error, although I think we all can kind of picture that, is I have Rockford going to the Western Conference Finals. So a couple of things about that. A, the Blackhawks are not making the playoffs, nor was that ever the plan. And that means they should be at full strength at the very beginning of the Calder Cup playoffs. Arvid Soderblom is a big game hunter in that, that offense has been clicking all year. I think they could catch some teams by surprise in a central division that is actually starting to look very top heavy. We saw them, in a very closely battled contest last season with Texas. That juggernaut Chicago Wolves team is no more, or is spread out rather. So I think there is that I'm not counting on it, but I put it on my bingo card here. I think there's a chance here Rockford goes to the Western Conference Finals. All
fun.
right. Fourth for the B for me is New Jersey trades a top 4 or a top 6 forward or a top 6 or top forward. Let's try this again. New Jersey trades a top 6 forward or top 4 defenseman on the Comets at the deadline and just kneecaps them. This is another one. It feels like New Jersey is going to look to add pieces to bolster a playoff run. They're in great position. They've been good this year, which is baffling. And there are a lot of pieces on the Comets that I feel like could net them. Like I could see like a Riley Walsh and like some other, like maybe a roster player and like a second round pick, getting them a nice rental at the deadline. And I think that they jump at that chance. Like, I don't think anyone who's left in Utica, not counting Holtz, is like an off the table prospect. Like, I think they would listen to offers on Kevin Ball at the deadline. I think they would listen on Riley Walsh, on Graham Clark, Nolan Foote, any of those guys. I think they're at least open to negotiation. Let's not say they deal all of them or any of them, but I think there's a chance that they cut the Comets down pretty good at the trade deadline. And last for the B column for me here, 10 transactions involving future considerations. I feel like that's the safest square on my entire board.
Yeah. Now, does it have to be 10 exactly? Or like if there's like 12, do you still get to check it off?
Minimum 10. So this is a number greater than 9, at least 10.
Yeah.
I feel like we did like 6 or 7 this calendar year. So room to grow here, but Belleville, I believe in you.
I like it.
All right, let's switch to the other, back to Sarah here and talk about Sarah's eyes. First up for Sarah in the eye column, Ontario finally fixes their glass issues. So let's talk about this a little bit. How long has there been glass issues in Ontario?
At least several seasons. If you don't watch the Ontario Reign with any regularity, which is probably most of you out there, like every couple of games, there's a delay because like a pane of glass gets broken or pops out of place or whatever, and they have to go fix it. Having been to that arena my fair share of times, like sometimes it's like the penalty box door won't close. Just not great. I mean, my insider like thought is that they just don't, whoever puts the rink back together after they take it down just doesn't do a great job. But like, there's just always something wrong. You're like, oh, game delayed in Ontario, must have broke the glass again for no reason. So I'm hoping that this year, 2023, is the year they finally say, we're done with this. And they figure out why it's happening and they stop it, because it is, I watch a lot of AHL games. I've never seen another team have as many issues as Ontario does with like their literal rink like falling apart.
And like the building itself was only built in 2008, so it's not old.
No,
it's what,
I think
14 years old.
I think it's like user error, is my guess. Apologies if you're listening and you're the person who does that, but like, come on.
Especially too, like, I mean, they have a bunch of other teams as tennis I'm seeing here.
Yeah. They've got a soccer team.
Who else is there?
They've got
Empire Strikers and the Clippers.
Yeah. Plus like like last time I was there was like a Ice Cube concert or something the night before.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Like and surprise,
was their first concert.
The whole place smelled like you would think it would smell after a Ice Cube / Bone Thugs and Harmony / whatever concert. It was an interesting time.
Absolutely. All right, second in Sarah's I column, and there's an asterisk on this one. It's one team gets sold, but it can't be Belleville because Belleville's already being sold. They are owned by the Ottawa Senators. By default, they will have new owners.
Right.
That it has to be a different team that is not currently for sale.
Yes. And like, this is the AHL. There's always someone having secret financial trouble or who just is like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. And like, surprise, sells their team. Or, you know, Vegas. I mean, now that Vegas has their own team, like there's always someone who swoops in and messes something up for everybody else. So yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say one non-Belleville Senator, that's a tongue twister, team has new ownership in the future.
Interesting choice. You have a favorite for that? Like who do you have an eye on a team that you think might do it?
You know, I don't, because I think it's going to be someone that like, it's going to be someone real weird. Like, I don't, you know, there's always the ones you can exclude. Like, you know, it's never going to be Hershey. It's never going to be Chicago. Like, there's a group of teams that are just, they're there. But there's always these weird, random, you know, who owns that team? I don't know.
I always forget that Providence is not owned by Boston.
Oh.
That's always the most surprising one, because that feels like a team that should be owned by its NHL club and isn't. They are somehow an independent team. I don't have any idea how they're surviving because, like, they're the worst at promoting that team and yet somehow still sell tickets. It's bananas to me.
Yeah.
All right. Third in the I column is one that we're all hoping for. Rockford introduces Hammy 3.0. I don't think anyone is against this except for maybe the guy who designed this current monstrosity.
Please. Like there was I think it was a Scott Powers in the Athletic article about Rockford and the whole transition to the new Hammy, and I'm like, please, like, I know you have to, like, you know, rainbows and sunshine this up to make it, like, you know, because that's your job, but no one wants this. I think that they use their off season or a break to retool, get a mascot costume that does not look like you got it from like someone on Etsy making their very first mascot costume, please.
Like Spirit Halloween. It looks like a Spirit Halloween costume.
Like, we're begging you, Rockford, please give me this bingo square.
There is a petition with more signatures than your average attendance, for Christ's sake.
Yes.
All right. Fourth in the I column for Sarah, Anton Hudobin gets back to the NHL. That, I feel like, is the most aggressive of all the squares in your card. Like,
like this would require, a lot of things to go right for him. A lot of things to go wrong for like the Texas Stars, because as long as they're hanging around in a playoff spot, like, they're going to want him there, even if he isn't getting the bulk of the games. But, you know, I read an interview with him where he was kind of talking about, like, he knew this was going to be the most likely outcome of this season, was kind of getting stuck in the AHL, but, you know, having a good attitude about it, and the team kind of trying to do everything that they can to, like, help him make a path back to the NHL. So I feel like if there is an opportunity there, I feel like, you know, the Stars ownership, you know, GM, whatever, would want to do right by him. but it's going to take a lot of stars, haha, pun not intended, to align to get him there.
I think the biggest thing is going to be if he gets out, it's going to be because someone trades for him, and like
Right.
it's a 3-team. Someone eats half the salary as like a filler deal, like this feels like a Buffalo to Arizona to Dallas kind of trade.
Yeah.
Where like Buffalo shoots Arizona like a 2nd round pick or a 3rd round pick for eating half the salary, and sends Dallas like some 18-year-old 3rd round prospect and like a roster player for Anton Hudobin or someone like that has like a starting goalie who has questionable health. Like I was going to say the Kings, but I don't think that's going to be it because eventually Cal Peterson's going to get himself back together. But like maybe
I hope so.
I mean, Toronto doesn't have the cap space for that. I'm trying to think. Carolina? I don't know.
Yeah.
Someone out there needs a starting or like a backup goalie because they have questions. So, all right. And last is a rookie leads playoff scoring.
I think it would be neat.
It would be. I'm trying to think of who I would pick for that person. I mean, Iowa's not going to. Well, I shouldn't say Iowa isn't going to make the playoffs. It seems unlikely that Iowa makes the playoffs.
Well, I think that they'll make will they get past that 1st round play-in whatever thing?
Will they make it to the 1st round play-in thing? That's still the open question.
Right.
I mean,
true.
It ain't over.
Grand Rapids is sneaking up, but I just remember what Jack Drury did last year for like the Wolves and had this. And he didn't even lead scoring, I don't think. But I feel like someone is just going to come. I just want someone to come out of nowhere and everyone to be like him? Question mark. Yeah. It's also a little team chaos.
I like it. I appreciate it. All right, let's switch to my side here. I have Lehigh Valley finishes the 2022-23 season with the #1 power play. They're, I think, somewhere around 5th right now. But man, that team has been holding it together. And usually, like their power play the last like 2 or 3 years has been terrible. It's been bad. So the fact that like they haven't had a good amount of puck luck shooting. They've had a bunch of injuries, and they're still doing this well. Yeah, I believe that they can get there. Mostly because I think Cleveland collapses eventually.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my rationale. Second for me is Ben Simon gets fired. It's one of those where eventually at some point, like if this team does not make the playoffs this year, that's what 4 straight losing seasons in Grand Rapids.
Yeah, it's rough.
I mean, he's developed guys,
sort of.
Yeah, I'm Ron Burgundy. He's developed guys. Like Joe Veleno really hasn't worked out that well,
right?
Neither has Jared McIsaac. Like those were picks that they not necessarily were blue chip guys, although Veleno sure feels like he was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And they have not really worked. The team has not been winning. It's tough to say. Like I could see this being the year if they don't make a run at the end of the season that Steve Yzerman pulls the plug on him. So also he was not Steve Yzerman's hire, which makes it all the more kind of sketchy. Like how many years a leash do you get before it's like, all right, you're not winning games. You're not sending us guys in good shape. What are we doing here, Ben?
Right. Let's try something else. Yeah.
My next one feels kind of like I don't have any reason to believe that it'll happen other than I believe it'll happen. And that's the Chicago Wolves get a new NHL affiliate in the 2022-23 season. They are technically up at the end of this year with Carolina. And I don't know. I could see after this year how Chicago is not exactly thrilled with how Carolina has handled some of their business. And I could see, I feel like Freddie Anderson has been getting strung along on the he's like a week away from starting for like a month and a half now.
Yeah.
Because as soon as Freddie Anderson gets off the IR, Kochekov goes back to Chicago, and Chicago no longer is horrible.
Right.
So I don't know. I feel like this is a Chicago is looking for the opt-out clause instead of Carolina in this one after this season. Plus, it's their affiliation is up. Chicago's forever the bachelor team in terms of NHL affiliations. So it feels like this could be a year that they go in a different direction again.
So tired of learning new organizations.
I think they probably stopped putting. Did they ever put the patch on the shoulders?
No, they never have. Yeah. No, for none of the teams that they've like they didn't have it with the Blues, they didn't have it with the Canucks. Like they just don't do it.
Seems like a smart choice.
Yeah.
All right. One is the next one for me is a pet project that I believe in. And that is Isaiah Seville takes the starting role in Henderson. I mean, Laurent Brossoit has picked it up recently. And oh my God, look at that. Once Henderson started getting saves, they started winning. That thing we said they would do. Now, that isn't the goaltender I thought it was going to be, but I guess he realized I need to stop screwing around. This isn't just for my health that I'm down here.
Right.
But Isaiah Seville still just hanging out in Savannah, doing absolutely nothing. Let's check in here and see what his current save percentage in Savannah is. Hold on, let me pull this up really quick. Isaiah Seville save percentage in Savannah is 929.
Oh.
16 games played, 929 save percentage. Yep.
Yeah.
Last 3 games in that was December 18th, 933, stopped 42 of 45. December 22nd, stopped 47 of 50.
Oh my God.
December 23rd, he played the back-to-back and stopped 43 of 45.
Oh my gosh.
What are we doing?
So Savannah, what are you doing?
Henderson, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Get on it. Get on it. Hashtag Seville saves Henderson. I'm telling you.
I like it.
Yeah. I don't understand that. Like, the man is getting peppered night in and night out.
Yeah,
and saving
and he's
pucks.
doing fine.
What more were you hoping for? All right, last one for me. And the reason I have this jersey on today is the last in the I column. Springfield goes to blue jerseys as their primary. Now, that's not to say that this jersey hasn't grown on me, but I'm just saying the logo is like primarily blue.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a little tiny bit of red like there, and that's it. And the blue thirds that they put out are nice.
Really good.
Like they're not St. Louis's, just basically St. Louis's jersey with their logo slapped on it. They're a little bit different, which I like. But like their graphics on social media for Springfield are mostly blue. Like the flags and like paraphernalia that fans have are like blue back with the Springfield logo on it.
Yeah.
The Falcons were blue. I feel like it looks so much better on that kind of like baby blue or even navy blue back. Like I have to think that they're going to get that message like in the offseason.
Right.
Like, all right, it's time to change.
Yeah. Or it feels like they've been like soft launching it. Like, let's do more things with the blue and see how people react to it. And then they have their business case for changing it because they're like, the people love it.
Yeah. It's not that the red doesn't work. It does not feel like it naturally goes with the rest of the color scheme. And it looks so much better in that like baby blue color.
Yeah.
I really like it. I think they should switch full time. That is why it is on my bingo card. All right, Sarah, let's do the first half of your N and then let's go to break here. If I can. There it is. All right, Sarah, your first N is the All-Star game actually happens.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a gimme because I can't imagine it not happening at this point. But I feel like, COVID, like everything. Laval has been waiting so long for the All-Star game to happen, and I feel like last year was like very last minute, like to the point where like I was kind of looking up like, can I even get into Canada? And then they were like, oh, we're not doing it. But I feel like this like. Everything, the stars are aligning again to make it actually happen. Laval will finally get their moment in the sun everyone will hear people speaking French. It'll be great and fun, and it will happen as expected. Finally.
What I think is funny is I'm actually going to be in the Providence a week before the game.
Oh no!
Will not go, but I will be there a week before. I won't be in Laval,
But close enough.
yeah, fun fact. All right, second on the N column, the Marlies lose a game to an e-bug.
So this one will make more sense once we see
some explanation.
Yeah, well, this will it'll make more sense once we see your square on the N column for the for your bingo card.
Flip back over here to mine.
Yeah,
my N1 is the AHL adds goaltender interference to its goal review rules. Something I feel like should have happened already.
Please.
Like the fact that you can't review for goaltender interference, let alone we have no idea what goaltender interference is.
Right.
But like there have been some blatant ones where it's like, yep, that was unquestionably contact with the goaltender in the paint that caused the goal to go in. And it's like the rest are like, yep, that must suck. Didn't see it on the initial call. Sorry about you. Like that's not, I don't think that's preparing referees for going to the NHL where they're gonna have to make those reviews and look at those plays. Like I think that that's something that they should be incorporating in the AHL as well, especially because like they can. If you have the review capacity to review puck in the net, you have the review capacity to review goaltender interference. Like this isn't like offsides where it's like, well, we don't have a camera dedicated. Like right, that's fine, but goaltender interference you do. So my second N, which will make Sarah's make more sense, is the Marlies win a game with an e-bug. And to be completely specific in mine, the e-bug is in the Marlies net. I'm not saying it's going to be David Ayers, but I'm not saying it's not.
But it should be.
And like, I don't mean like an e-bug in the like, oh, we signed like a random, SPHL guy who is a rostered goaltender on a team in another professional league this year. I mean straight up like a dude from their marketing department that played D3 backup in college.
Yes.
Like, I mean an actual emergency backup, one-day contract kind of dude.
Yeah.
And I've chosen the Marlies, because of David Ayers.
Yeah.
And I think redemption story was so close last year that I could taste it. And I want that to happen. And two, of all the teams that feel like they are in that like teetering dangerously close to needing an actual true emergency backup, the Marlies have been there several times.
Yeah.
Like they've been close. Like they've done the kind of like quote unquote AHL e-bug where it's like Andrew D'Agostino or something like that, where it's like this dude clearly doesn't belong at this level of competition, but we needed somebody.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for him, it would be, Steve from marketing who's riding the bench or something like that. Like one of these games that like playing with fire is eventually going to catch up with them.
Yeah.
And yours was that the Marlies lose a game featuring an e-bug, lose to an e-bug.
Yes.
So the e-bug is in the other teams. So you're basically doing a like father, like son thing.
Yes, exactly. Like bonus points. Like if they lose to the e-bug and the e-bug is David Ayers, I will like double the donate. Like I'll just give a donation like without even hitting the bingo. Like it's like done, signed, sealed, delivered. Yeah. I would die. It would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be. That would be
so much.
So like the internet would fall apart. Like it would just like they'd be sending scuba divers down there to check the cables under the ocean. Like no, it's definitely still connected. You just broke it.
Right, like all of like Toronto is just like melted.
Oh, it would melt.
I like any e-bug, and again like same stipulation. Like it's not just like we called up this guy from the ECHL and whatever. Like no. I mean the like I played beer league yesterday and now I'm on the bench for this other team. That's the e-bug that I want.
Yeah, you want like an official, guy from the dude who was delivering the mail earlier the day.
Right. Yes.
Or the career lawyer or something like that. Like an actual honest to God, not professional hockey player.
Right. All like I played in college and then now I bake cakes. I don't know.
All right. So we're going to take a break here as we are halfway through our bingo cards. After the break, we will get to the rest of the bingo cards. That seems the only logical choice there. If you've had enough of bingo cards and you're tired of this shtick, that's completely fair. Thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening to us from so you can get episodes in a timely fashion. Also, check us out on social media. Links to our social media and more can be found on our Linktree page at linktr.ee/thecalderfarmstead. If you can't spell that, I don't know how you got here in the first place. It's probably somewhere right where you are. We're going to pay some bills, run some ads. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. And we're back discussing the latter half of our bingo card, starting with the second half of the end column. Sarah, you have Providence wins the Eastern Conference. Not quite a gimme there, but an interesting choice. What made you go with Providence?
It felt realistic. Whenever I was looking at, their goaltenders are still kind of in that top ranking of goaltenders. They're still getting good performances from the players that they need to get good performances from. It felt plausible. And like we've said, like the Eastern conferences, especially, they're just all going to beat each other up. Like whoever makes it to win the conference, like it's going to be the last man standing. It's not even that they're going to be the best team. They just made it the whole way. And I just felt I had a good feeling about the P Bruins that they could be the last man standing. They can watch all the other Syracuse, Uticas, whatever, beat up on each other and then just sort of emerge victorious.
All right. And this is not just the Eastern regular season title, because that's apparently not a thing.
No, what? No, that's dumb.
You're talking about the playoffs.
Yes.
Like they're going to win the okay.
Yes.
Just making sure.
Yes.
Yeah, because I don't understand why the AHL does this, where they're like division winners in the regular season. That's a real thing. Conference winner. Nope. That's
apparently not. Yeah.
I have no concept for why they decided that was the line they draw. So it's like division, yes. Conference, no. League, yes. There is a regular season league champion and a regular season division champion, but the group between them, no.
Right.
That's where we draw the line. Sure. All right. After that, you have Milwaukee wins the Central. I'm assuming this is the regular season division.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The AHL just like really lives to make things difficult by not doing things entirely the way that you would want them to do it. Yeah, no, they have slipped a little bit lately. They've had a couple of losing streaks. I know some of it is they've lost some players to Nashville, but I think it would be fun for the Admirals for so long being kind of like in that number 2-3 spot to finally get the win. It feels plausible, especially given what we know about this division and how it's a little iffy this year.
I think for me, it's the 1920 season getting suspended really robbed the Admirals more than the Admirals and Providence the most. Like those were the two titans of the AHL at that point in time. And I feel like we all kind of just let that happen. It's like, hopefully would have been Milwaukee Providence. That would have been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right. The other half of my N here. Sorry, guys. I'm going with the Belleville Senators relocate. And there are reasons. The Ottawa Senators are for sale, and by default, that makes Belleville for sale as well. New ownership comes in. They want to, spruce things up a little bit. Belleville has been bottom 3 attendance for, I think, 4 years running right now. They are down to the point in which, like, Belleville, the Bulls, last couple of seasons, are right around where the Senators are drawing. And those numbers are very much tickets sold. Like, I looked at some of their games recently, just not to watch film per se, but like just to see what the crowd looks like. And there are like entire sections of the lower bowl that are just empty. Like there's like 2 people in them. And it's like, oh yeah, this was the building being 50% full according to tickets sold. Like, and the other thing too is like there are bigger markets that are right nearby that for some reason Belleville didn't, or some reason Ottawa didn't put their affiliate in the first place. Like Kingston is a much bigger market than Belleville. So is Albany. And yeah, that's on the wrong side of the border, but at the same point, like I could very much see this happening because the other teams that were down in the dumps with them in attendance the last couple of years were Stockton and Binghamton. And, well,
yeah, about them.
All right, last one in the end column for me is 4 teams outside the playoff on New Year's Eve. So 2 days from now, make the playoffs. They get in. I don't think this is that outlandish, but then you got to remember only 2, 4, 6, 9 teams don't make the playoffs in the AHL out of 32. I'm thinking of the 9 that are currently on the outside looking in, 4 of them find their way in. I have my eye on a couple. I think Hartford finds a way. I think they're starting to find their stride a little bit. They're starting to get some puck luck back on their side. I think they find a way in. Let me see if Utica is currently in a playoff spot, because that's going to influence this. I think Utica makes it, like barely skin of their teeth style, but I think Utica makes it. They are, oh wow, they're 4th right now. All right, so not them. But Grand Rapids is out. Grand Rapids and Chicago are both only 3 points out of a playoff spot right now. Like, we've talked about how bad Chicago has been this year. Being 3 points out of a playoff spot with a game in hand over the team above you in the standings, ain't too shabby.
Not a bad,
That's not a horrible spot to be in with 45 games left.
And they've learned how to score goals lately. They can score goals now, believe it or not.
Henderson's 3 points out. Bakersfield is 4 points out. And Bakersfield has games in hand against San Jose. And Bakersfield is eventually going to be better than what they are. They've been stripped down. So, like, I think there's a way some of these teams sneak in. Like Hartford, Chicago, Grand Rapids. Oh, probably not both of them. I'll say Hartford, Chicago, Henderson, and Bakersfield. There's my 4. That could very reasonably happen here.
Yeah.
All right.
Not San Diego.
No, not San Diego. I love you, San Diego Gulls fans. I'm sorry. Your team is bad. I imagine at this point you have probably also come to that conclusion. All right. Let's talk about Sarah's G column here. First in the G is we learn what goalie interference. Wow, you swung for the fences there. We learned what goalie interference is.
I did. It's really wishful thinking. I mean, it kind of goes along with your like, oh, we can actually finally review this stuff too. Just they sit down, they think about the rules, they clarify them, they make sure the officials know what the rules are. Surprise, we now know what goalie interference is because they came to a conclusion about it. I would like to think that someday the AHL could be the example for the NHL, which also doesn't know what goaltender interference is. Like, you got to start somewhere. So maybe they do it. Maybe they do it.
I feel like I at least, when I hear the explanation of what's going on, of why they're calling one thing goaltender interference, I at least can usually see, like, all right, I see how you came to that conclusion. I don't agree with it per se, but I at least see how you got there.
Yeah.
There are only a handful of times now, I feel like, where I'm just like, I have no idea how you think that's goaltender interference. Like, it does still happen, or I have no idea how you don't think that's goalie interference. Like, that looks blatant to me, but for the most of the time, it's like, if I don't agree with the call, I can at least see how they got there. There's only a handful of ones now, so I feel like it's at least trending in the right direction.
Right. Yeah, it's going. Yeah.
It's taken us a couple years. It's kind of like in the NFL, what is a catch? I feel like we've gotten to the point where we know now.
Yeah.
Or like where we can consistently predict when it's a catch. All right. I mean, your second G, this is like your G column is just ambitious.
Yeah, it really is.
Colorado gets a better camera angle for AHL TV. I'm Godspeed to you on that one, Sarah.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is one where, like, if it happens, like, I would just give money to, like, a Colorado charity for it. Like, if you've never watched a Colorado Eagles game at home, I recommend you do it just so you know what I'm talking about. But the camera angle, half of the time, like, you can't see the, like, one edge of the ice because the angle is such that, like, you're really looking into the stands. And if someone stands up to get a beer or popcorn or take their, like, loud child to the bathroom or something, you can't see what's happening on the ice. It makes watching Eagles games just real unpleasant. And I really, like, I don't know, put your camera up on blocks. Like, you've got some cinder blocks sitting around, I bet. or a box. Just raise it like
Just
5 feet.
wheel out one of those like scissor lifts.
Right.
But you can't
It's fine. Like
that's legitimately what Binghamton did in the New Jersey practice facility in 2021. They recorded the game from a scissor lift. I swear to God.
it
So
gets the
like
job
it's
done.
not without precedent in this dumb league.
Yeah. Please. I'm begging you, Colorado.
All right. Third in the G is Calgary wins the Western Conference. This is very much at odds with one of mine, by the way.
Yeah, I imagine. Well, yeah, I mean, Calgary was my pick a couple weeks ago whenever we did our picks for the season, and my guess was Calgary wins the whole darn thing, and so I gotta run with that, which would mean they'd have to win the Western Conference to get to the pie at the end. I feel like Calgary has been trending, at least from what I've seen, trending good. They are a team that keeps being able to win games even when maybe they shouldn't be winning the game. Dustin Wolf is doing Dustin Wolf things, and I think that all the other teams just beat up on each other, and Calgary just moseys on out the winner.
So basically, according to your bingo card here, it's a Calgary Providence Calder Cup final.
Yes.
All right. I don't even know how this one's possible. Fourth, Roy Sommer doesn't get fired. And to be clear, we're including the we have agreed not to renew his contract, the mutual parting, all of the how do we phrase this to protect, the coach
your
kind of language
ego.
when it's very clearly you got shit canned.
Yeah. No, I for whatever reason, I mean, the Ducks go front office, they sort of know what they're doing, but also they made this baffling decision in the first place. I think we're both on the same page about this hire and how we didn't really think it was going to work out, and look where we're at. But I feel like they might just stick with their guns on this one. And yeah, I feel like anything other than, we are not renewing your contract because you're bad. Which
I think the thing for me that's the most baffling of it is I understand deciding that Joel Bouchard was not the guy you wanted there. He very clearly seems to need the guys that he wants, and he coaches a certain kind of guy, not in a Tortorella style, but not in that.
Right.
And they were like, all right, we have to get rid of this guy who's available to us that we know will be fine to, carry us for a year while we do an actual coaching search. Oh, Roy will take the job.
Great.
Okay. How bad could that go? Guy who hasn't watched the Barracuda play for 3 straight seasons. Oh yeah.
Not great.
I have to imagine some kind of not outright firing where they're like, yeah, we fired Roy. It's going to be more like we parted ways on
service.
Or Roy decided to become, an executive into the executive branch, or not executive branch. He's not going to become, Secretary of State. He's don't start, Sarah. But he's not. He's going to go to president of hockey ops, executive assistant, where it's this isn't a real job. It's basically just something
just here.
We pay Roy Sommer nominal
coach.
salary, and he shows up to some meetings, and that's it.
Yeah.
All right. Last in the G column for Sarah, a prominent NHLer does a conditioning stint. Now we're going to need you to define prominent, because
I'm thinking the one that came to mind for me was a couple seasons ago whenever Zach Parise played a game for the Wild. I'm thinking that level of guy, veteran player, people know his name, not just some guy who's not waivers up, who would have to pass through waivers. And I'm thinking a guy who, if you ask your average to above average hockey fan, not the weirdos like us who do podcasts, but people who generally follow the league, oh, have you heard of this dude? They'll probably know who you mean.
So it's not, it has to be an Evander Kane or a Cal Peterson. I don't even think would count for this.
No.
Yeah. Okay. I can live with does the average hockey fan know who this is? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's switch things back to my side here and go to G. My number one for G is Joey Decord scores a goalie goal. I had to think about, because I'm like, goalie goal was going to be on my card somewhere.
Mhm.
It was just who I thought would score it that hasn't already, because I feel like picking someone to score another one. I mean, Joe Hofer probably is going to, let's be honest. But Joey Decord, I've seen him play a couple of times now with Coachella Valley and with Charlotte last year. He was much better in Charlotte last year, which is concerning. But that man can play the puck. And I'm imagining it's just a matter of time before, especially because Coachella Valley has a lot of leads late in games. You know, he's good at playing the puck. I think there is definitely a moment in which he gloves one down and just rips it. Like, not like I was the last person to touch my puck own goal. I mean, like he shoots the puck into the goal. I'm thinking that one's like maybe not likely, but very higher on the rankings of ridiculousness. Like above game gets suspended due to Zamboni error, but like below the Belleville Senators relocate.
Right. Yes.
All right. Next for me is someone gets a 10+ game suspension. This is a tricky one because the AHL this year has been like, oh, you regularly suspended guy who's done horrifically stupid things in the past that couldn't even be constituted as a hockey play. We'll give you 4 games for this one, your 6th suspension of the year.
Right.
Like getting a 10+ game suspension is difficult in any league. Like you have to capital D do something.
Yeah.
So I don't know who it's going to be. I have some guesses. But
one of them might appear on my card.
Yeah, it's like it feels like one big stupid thing happens every year that gets someone a close to 10. But I'm thinking 10+. I think we go extra stupid in 2023. If nothing else, self-motivated choice, because then that means we will get to make fun of something extra stupid in 2020.
That's a good motto for the year too. Like
And
extra stupid.
I'm not sure if she is still in charge of it. Because I know that the AHL hired like a dude to oversee officiating, but friend of the show, Haley Moore, at last I checked, was in charge of player safety and player discipline. So Haley, if you're listening, we believe in you.
Right.
We absolutely do. Swing the banhammer. Let's go. All right. Second or third for me in the G category. We're going bold here. Alex Barré-Boulet is traded. I have to imagine he's tired of being in the AHL. He's at what, almost 1.5 points a game this year, and he's like third on his team in scoring.
Yeah,
this is not new to him, but he's never going to make Tampa.
No.
So I feel like, and he has years left on his contract too. So I feel like this has got to be one where he's like, guys, send me somewhere that I have a shot.
Yeah.
Because like he's running out of real estate to be considered like a prospect by anyone's definition. But like he has talent, he has potential. He's clearly good enough to at least get an NHL look in the right circumstances. Liam O'Brien, cousin Liam, has been playing for Arizona for like 2 years now. Alex Barré-Boulet is way better than that dude.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the only way he's getting out of there is by trade.
Yeah.
So that's my pick. Alex Barré-Boulet is traded. All right. Next for me is the North Division winner in the playoffs. So the team that wins the North Division part of the bracket gets swept in the Eastern Conference Finals. I do not believe in any team in the North as a contender. Like Toronto, the Maple Leafs will still probably be in their, only playoff series by the time the Marlies are done with the first round.
Yeah.
Because if they make it through the first round, then they're set. Like,
right.
Because they'll have all of the Maple Leafs back when Toronto gets knocked out in the first round.
Yes.
But it's like every other team. It's like they're not a contending team. Like they're not bad. Like Syracuse isn't bad. Rochester isn't bad. Utica isn't bad. But like, there's none of them are like, oh, that's a team that can maybe be a. You don't look at any of the teams in the North and think that. So like, whoever wins that division, getting smoked by whoever wins the Atlantic. Probably Hershey or Providence, but like, I think one of those teams just absolutely trucks the North Division winner. All right, last in the G column for me, kind of the opposite of one of Sarah's picks here, is that injuries and call-ups forced Calgary to finish 5th or worse in the Pacific. it feels like Calgary has had good injury luck and good call-up luck for like two and a half seasons now. And damn it, I'm tired of it.
I mean,
like there had to be a whole Twitter campaign to get Matthew Phillips, two games of 8 minutes a night.
Yeah.
Like eventually someone in Calgary is going to get hurt in a serious way, and the Wranglers are going to suffer for it.
Yeah.
Like it's got to happen eventually. There's no way they can keep ducking this long. So that's I'm calling my shot right now. Eventually it has to happen. Like the Grim Reaper comes for us all here. It's that is the only reason I pick it, because they've had such good injury luck and good call-up luck for like 2.5 seasons now. It's time. You've had your time in the sun, Calgary.
Right.
Now you must suffer the skeleton crew. All right, Sarah, for us, the only thing that is left is the O column. Yours, to start off the O's, is Coachella Valley picks a goal horn. Can you explain this one? Because I'm not familiar with it.
All right, so if you watch a Coachella Valley home game, which they have now started playing them because they do have a home arena, they don't actually have their own. They've been testing out different goal horns. So they don't have like a goal horn. If you like, it's just audio, I believe. If you listen to a game, you're probably going to hear different sounds whenever someone scores. Like I feel like they're doing the like live market research essentially to figure out which one gets people amped up the most. This whole square might actually be a little bit of inside baseball just from stuff that I know, but you have to pick one. You can't go through life, as funny as it would be, having like different goal horn sounds all the time just because you're indecisive. That's something that I would do, and that's why I don't work for a hockey team. So my my square here is that eventually in the near future, they pick one they like and they stick with it.
So like out of curiosity, because I haven't caught any of their home games yet, are they doing like regular sounding goal horns? Because like I know when you do like the NHL create a team, they have like a bunch of like clown horns and like
they're all like
alien
normal
buzzers. They're like legitimate goal horns.
Yes, yeah. Like, and I feel like I to be fair to Coachella Valley, I probably wouldn't have even noticed it myself had someone not pointed it out to me. So it's not like they're not doing it super obnoxious. It's not like, someone scores a goal and it goes ooga. Like that's not. They're all like legitimate sounding normal goal horns. It's just like, do you want the one that sounds more like a truck or more like a foghorn kind of situation? Yeah.
That's a very weird thing, not to just be like, all right, just pick one. Like nobody cares unless it's like an kind of goofy.
It wasn't like Disney. Like, it wasn't a cartoon. One. Yeah,
I don't know why they're market researching that. Everyone's so excited and throwing their arms up and stuff. They don't notice the horn noise.
No,
or that
I would not.
That it's not it's a foghorn and not like the guy from the Ricola commercial. It's nobody notices that. No. That's silly. No. All right. Second O column for you. Sean finally has to respect Bridgeport. I just want to say, I do respect Bridgeport. I do not recognize their name change, which is what I'm assuming that you are referring to. So basically, you're saying that Bridgeport is going to finish with more than 84 points this year. Yes. That is really what you're getting.
Yes, I think that this year Bridgeport finally does enough to prove themselves to you as being a real team, and that. I mean, which is kind of a bummer because honestly, Bridgeport Sound Tigers is just way cooler. It's perfect. So I don't want them to have to be called by their actual new name, but I feel like they're good enough that this might finally be the year that things have to change, unfortunately.
Let's see what pace they're on right now. Currently speaking. I was told there would be no math.
Terrible.
They are currently on an 85.8 point pace. So like they are just above that line, in which I would be forced to acknowledge the name change at the end of the season, as we agreed upon in the season picking against the machine. So like it's gonna come down to like the last game. Yes. And I will say I'm interested. I will abide by the promise that I made. some tipping a hat to Barnum and Bailey. P.T. Barnum was a huge ass hat. But that's a story for a different time.
Yeah.
Third on the O is Pyotr Kochetkov never comes back to the AHL. I think we talked about this either before we recorded the show or at some point in the recording.
Yeah.
It's all kind of a blur. But yeah, it seems like they've been stringing along Freddie Anderson for forever. Like he's been week to week or day to day for
like a month.
Yeah. Oh, it feels like longer than that. It feels like it's at least 6 weeks. Like he is just
right. He's been like practicing, but no sign of really I feel like it's been more than just like he's out on the ice after everyone else is gone. That's not good.
What makes it weirder to me is they have never put him on LTIR where they would start getting like cap savings and stuff like that. He's always just had his salary count the entire time against the cap, and they're just like, oh, that's fine. It's fine. Like that's a weird arrangement for them, but they're one of the better teams in the NHL on any given night.
It's working. Yeah, I feel like between that and like I think we talked about it last week on the show when we talked about Chicago, was even if Freddie Anderson gets better, I do not 100% trust Antti Ranta to not then go and immediately get hurt right afterwards. So, Kochetkov could come back for like 3 days and then get called back up again because Ranta, bless his wonderful heart, gets hurt again. I don't think I'm seeing Kochetkov back in a Wolves sweater this season, which is a bummer because he sort of speaks English now, and I could kind of talk to him. Wasn't able to talk to him all last year because he knew like 2 words in English.
That's fair.
I know like 2 words in Russian, so it wouldn't have gone well.
I think I know 1 word of Russian that I picked up watching From Russia with Love when I was a kid.
Probably not going to help you.
No, not going to be very useful.
No.
All right. Second to last one for Sarah. Scott Sabern does something useful. Define something useful, Sarah, because that's a...
Yeah, it's intentionally broad. And I mean, really, if we want to be as generous as possible, maybe his something useful is gets suspended for 10 or more games. So he actually gets both of us a check on our bingo cards. I just feel like everyone I know who like follows, I know a lot of people who follow Laval really closely or other teams in that blob. And they're just like, oh, this freaking guy. I feel like he plays like 1 game without an incident or so, like, it's the like 0 days since last shenanigans kind of thing. Jesus,
he has 144 penalty minutes this year.
Yes.
Holy Christ. How do you even do that?
I don't know. And it's not like, he hasn't got it. He's staying right on that line of like fighting penalties that like, he hasn't had that mandatory suspension or whatever. Like he's just, how many points does he have since you're looking him up?
13 in 26 games, which like
that's
makes
kind of respectable.
Yeah, like that makes the penalty
like
minutes worse. Like if you're going to just go out there and be a goon, like don't score goals too.
Right, like just pick a lane.
Yeah.
I would like him to pick the lane.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. I'm defining useful as very broad.
Yeah.
144
penalty minutes in 26 games. That's
unbelievable.
Jeez. All right, last one for you is probably the nightmare scenario for everyone. Like this is Team Chaos dialed to 11.
Yes, this is my chaotic evil.
Matt Murray, the Texas Stars goaltender, gets traded to Toronto.
Yes.
Like, I mean, if he had played his junior in Sault Ste. Marie, almost a lock that he ends up there.
Yes.
But like, my God,
I just want the Matt Murray tandem. I want it so much.
That's. I apologize. I am not as Team Chaos as that. That is truly like the chaotic evil bottom right square. Wow.
Yeah.
Well played, Sarah.
My first, when I was workshopping this one, my first was that it was a 1-for-1 Murray for Murray swap, which like would also be really funny. But then I thought it would be funnier to have them.
Oh no, it's much worse if they're both
franchise.
In the same market.
Yes.
Like we would have to go to like what middle names?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've said that we were going to come up with a nickname for Texas Matt Murray, and we haven't come up with one yet. We're going to have to work on that over the holiday break.
Yes, I hope they have the same middle name.
Oh, if they have the same middle name, it's over. Like, because even if we're like one is Matt, the other is Matthew, it's like okay, but I'm not going to remember which one is which.
It's like remembering which of the like 14 Zachs on a team is a Zach or a Zachary or a Zach with an H or with a K.
Yeah, I'm never going to remember that.
No.
All right, close this out for me here. My O column starts with 7 new head coaches for 23-24. Obviously, I think one of them will be in Grand Rapids, but probably San Diego. I could see a handful of teams, maybe looking for the exit on their coach. But Hartford wouldn't shock me. As much as I like Troy Mann, I think Belleville could go a different direction. But I think there's a chance that Hershey and Todd Nelson are not together at the end of the year, not because they fire him, but because Todd Nelson takes a job in the NHL again. A lot of possibilities, but 7 new head coaches for next season. Next up, we have 2 teams introduce new jerseys or logos that are objectively awful. And I don't mean like the Chicago Wolves gray jerseys, like kind of bad, or they're like black and green ones with the side stripes, which were bad. Like, I mean ones that are like Hammy reinvented bad, where everyone is like, who thought of this approach? Like, everyone hates. I couldn't imagine what team that's going to be or what they're going to do with it, but someone, at least in my opinion, 2 teams are going to take a shot at it. Logos or jerseys. I guess I could have put mascots, but I don't think anyone else is going to change mascots.
No.
Like some team is going to come up with like a 3rd jersey, like Abbott or something, and everyone's just going to be like, what did you even try here?
Yeah.
So, all right. 3rd for me in the O category is one that I'm surprised we haven't had happen yet. And that's that a fight features 2 family members. There are a lot of siblings in this league. There are a couple, like cousins and whatnot, but like the fact that Giovanni and Gemma Smith play in the same conference now, I feel like that's a good opportunity for one. Both Sherwoods kind of dot in and out. The Securas are both in this league. At least both Carricks used to play in the AHL in the same division. Like it feels like one of those things that inevitably would happen, but just hasn't yet, as far as I'm.
Yeah, I want this.
Oh, I know what my dream brother fight would be in the AHL. That's if Arvid Soderblom fought Elmer Soderblom.
Yes, that's right. They're related. I forgot about that.
That is like probably the smallest chance of any of them. But
that's real team chaos.
Versus skater fight between the Soderblom brothers. That's what I want. All right.
A+.
4th on the O for me is Colorado moves to the Central Division. And I think what's fueled this the most is that I forget where it was, but there was an interview with Scott Housen where he said that no, they were done with all these Pacific Division teams wanted to be in the Pacific Division, blah, 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 blah. And it's and I also remember when Scott Housen said that Stockton was going to stay in Stockton last year. So I definitely don't believe that. Which I mean, I don't blame him. His job is to go out there and preach the stability of the league. You can't be going and doing that when we're moving teams willy-nilly. But for Colorado, their parent club is in the Central. They're not gaining any or losing any travel time. It's pretty much the same. So why not? Especially too if you're in Iowa the same night the Avalanche are in Minnesota. We're not, a time zone away. It feels
they already play all the Central teams anyway. Just move them.
Yeah. It feels like it's inevitable, but because Scott Housen said it's definitely not happening, makes me think it's more plausible. Because not that Scott Housen is a perennial liar, but there have definitely been some things before where it's and do you remember the time you said this wasn't happening, and then 6 months later that thing happened? Scott. All right. The last one for me in the O category is Garrett Pilon does not play for Hershey in 22-23. That doesn't say he's not in the Capitals organization or that he gets traded or anything like that. It said he's not coming to Hershey for the 22-23 season. Number one, his contract is up. So if he gets re-signed by the Capitals, I have to imagine it's to play for the Capitals, or that he's going to go somewhere else. And I don't think it's going to be for the Capitals. It could be, I guess, in theory. But I also have to imagine after getting like a handful of games in Washington and getting like those lovely fourth line 9 minutes a night, which is not what his game is meant for, that he's like, all right, we're either going to get busy making a bunch of money or we're going to get busy trying to make the NHL.
Right.
And I don't think that, like, I'm not saying he hasn't enjoyed his time in Hershey.
Right.
But I would like to imagine that Garrett Pilon has hopes for things beyond, an AHL contract. So I think that he is going to do what Brian Pino did a lot of. Just see what's out there, take a step, and see if you can't crack an NHL lineup next year.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't think he comes back to Hershey. So he's either in Washington or we're calling it. He's going to go somewhere else.
Like it.
All right. That is it for our bingo cards. We do not have a start bench ship because, well, we did this instead. Yeah. So let me pull up both of them, or I guess I can't do that side by side. We tried. But Sarah, yours, San Diego Gulls have a winning streak of 4 games. Chicago adds more fireworks. Sammy Walker, Rookie of the Year. Injuries to Pittsburgh. Blow up Wilkes-Barre Scranton. Outdoor game has terrible weather. Ontario fixes the glass. A team gets sold. Rockford gets a new mascot for Hammy 3.0. Dobby gets back to the NHL. A rookie leads playoff scoring. The All-Star game happens. The Marlies lose a game to an E-Bug. Providence wins the East. Milwaukee wins the Central. We learn what goalie interference is. Colorado gets a better camera angle for AHL TV. Calgary wins the West. Roy Sommer doesn't get fired. A prominent NHLer does a conditioning stint. Coachella Valley picks a goal horn. I have to respect Bridgeport. Kochekov never comes back. Saborn does something useful. Matt Murray gets traded to Toronto. Mine. Game is suspended due to Zamboni error. Ville Heinola is traded. Rockford goes to the Western Conference Finals. New Jersey trades someone important to Utica. 10 transactions involving future considerations. Lehigh Valley finishes with the number 1 power play. Ben Simon gets fired. Chicago gets a new affiliate. Isaiah Seville takes the starting role in Henderson. Springfield goes to blue jerseys instead of red. AHL adds goaltender interference to goal review rules. The Marlies win a game with an E-Bug. The Belleville Senators relocate. 4 teams outside the playoffs on New Year's Eve get in. Joey Decord scores a goalie goal. Someone gets a 10-plus game suspension. Alex Barberley is traded. The North Division winner is swept in the conference finals. Calgary gets hit with injuries. 7 new head coaches for 23-24. 2 teams introduce new jerseys and logos that are objectively awful. A fight features 2 family members. Colorado moves to the Central. And Garrett Pilon doesn't play for Hershey in 22-23. That is all we have. Sarah, take us out.
All right. Well, thanks as always for watching or listening to the Calder Farmstead. That is it for us today and our somewhat chaotic bingo cards. The Calder Farmstead is part of the Full Press Radio Network. You can listen to this and several other great hockey, sports, and sports entertainment programs at www.fullpresscoverage.com. Just click the podcast. Yes. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Completely cut you off there.
That's fine. Just click the podcast's drop-down menu in the top right portion of the website and enjoy. Now it's your turn.
And if you guys are enjoying the Calder Farmstead, please make sure you subscribe so you get episodes in a timely fashion. Also, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon, please, 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 I cannot tell you enough how much this actually helps us. Rate and review the podcast. Or if you are watching on YouTube, like the video, comment what you thought of the episode. Doing these things helps others find the show, and your reviews help us improve it. You can also follow the show on social media at Calder Farmstead on Twitter, at The Calder Farmstead on Instagram and Facebook. Links to all of that and more can be found on our Linktree page, which also includes our merch store, which we just dropped 2 new T-shirts that are player-specific. You might want to go check them out. That is all at our Linktree page at linktr.ee/thecalderfarmstead. Big thanks to Adrian Drake who made our theme music. You can find him on social media at AD_Dysfunction. That's AD_DYSFUNCTION, so we can make music for you too. Sarah, where can the people find you?
Well, as always, my name is Sarah Avampato. You can find me representing Full Press Hockey on Twitter at Right Said Sarah. It's WRITE Said Sarah with an H. You can check out my writing over at Full Press Hockey, where I talk about the Ontario Reign and their glass issues, or at Canes Country, where I talk about the Chicago Wolves and their fireworks. Sean, where can people find you?
I'm Sean O'Brien. You can find me on Twitter at Sean O'Brien81. That's SeanObrien 81. I'm also on Instagram at Sean O'Brien _81. Both of those are personal accounts. My Twitter is mostly hockey. My Instagram is mostly randomness. Jersey of the day goes up there. I have a massive jersey collection, as you probably know if you've ever seen the YouTube of our show repeatedly. But you can see all of them there. You can find my stats work on Tableau. That's the model, the game predictions, the standings projections, where all those player maps are. All of that can be found at bit.ly/datadumpachase, all lowercase, all one word. Thank you very much for tuning in for the show, and we hope that you have a happy, safe, and enjoyable 2023. For Sarah Avampato, I am Sean O'Brien, and please dump and chase responsibly.